Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's news and public affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide. Live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the Go.
It's a very, very beautiful morning, everybody. Welcome to Caritas News on the Go. This is our first episode for the 2022, and we are not very happy in the sense that we are very happy that we are here in the Diocese of Maasin. We are here in solidarity because we know what happened, especially in 2021. It seems that it's so long ago already, but it's just a matter of weeks when Typhoon Odette came to the Philippines and then badly hit several of our dioceses, 11 in fact. So we are here in Maasin, and we are very privileged that we would be able to talk to the bishop himself, Bishop Precioso Cantillas, and then to share with us also his insights and experiences about the typhoon and what the local church in Maasin is doing at the moment. Bishop Precioso, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Jean, and thank you for having me this program.
Yes, this is the first time that we are seeing each other like personally, but we have been texting each other for several years now.
Yes.
Bishop, thank you for lending me your phone number. At least may ka-textmate ako, di ba?
Yes.
Opo. Bishop, kidding aside, it's almost Christmas time when Typhoon Odette came and then ravaged almost all of Maasin. How was your experience?
Well, yes, it came after the first day of the Misa di Gallo, and in the morning that I said the Misa di Gallo in the cathedral, it was already signal number 5, and I was asking the people to pray that we may not. I was not asking that we may be spared, but at the same time, whatever will happen, but I was asking the people to pray to the Lord to spare us from such calamity. And I was already reminding them at that day before the typhoon struck that to keep our faith strong, that even if we are in signal number 5, our faith should be stronger. That is the reason for keeping the tradition of the Misa di Gallo, to have the Catholic faith strengthened in our country. And so it happened in the afternoon. I was here in the residence, and the strong wind began at around 4:45, and so. But people were already evacuated just in the morning. Some 30 families were accommodated here in our compound. The rest, a good number, were in our diocesan school, St. Joseph College, were around 600 families, I was told. And so when it struck, it was really, I should say, it's the first time. I've been here 21 years, and I know that this place, Maasin, Southern Leyte, is the usual path of the typhoon, and it is being forecasted. We would always have the fear, because Southern Leyte is one of its regional path, and luckily for the past 21 years, it's either the typhoon goes up or 2 or 3 times it goes down to Mindanao. So we're happy about it. In fact, for the famous Yolanda, which is we are just around 180 kilometers from the center, and it had a diameter of 600. We really were so grateful to the Lord that the whole diocese, which is the whole of entire Southern Leyte province and 6 towns of Leyte, we really suffered almost nothing. And so we of course thank the Lord for such. But this time, we got our share. So it was my first, as I heard it from others, that it was really The first kind of a typhoon that was so strong that we experienced in this area. And so that was my personal experience. I was in my room upstairs. I saw the trees were really, bending so low, and then came back. Then when the second part of the typhoon came, it was from the north to the south, and it was. I feel it was stronger and constant in strength. With the already salty water, and the waters and broke glasses and so on and so forth. So even for me it was something terrifying. And so that was my personal experience with Odette.
Bishop, after the typhoon, when you went around,
Yeah.
how was it? Like, what's the foremost feeling or emotion?
Yeah, it was overwhelming. Even here, just in the bishop's compound, trees were around. Some trees fell on the roof, and this and that. So, and I saw there were still a few seminarians around. So, and people started to, go around, and I realized that the feeling was, oh, what shall we do? Where do we start? So we tried to clear some parts, but it was a feeling of, being overwhelmed by a catastrophe that just passed by. And then I had some chance to go around. I borrowed a motorcycle. I went around and I saw.
You drive a motorcycle?
Well, I just had to see the place, and went to the cathedral, and I saw the cathedral was, the roof was greatly damaged, and I saw the school, and the people around were really just something like wondering what to do. And so that was the feeling of an event that was so overwhelming that people don't know what to do, at least for the start. And that
Bishop,
was
3 weeks after December 16, what are the prevailing needs still of the people?
again, the prevailing.
The prevailing needs, the urgent needs.
Yeah, of course. The typhoon was so strong that it blew off a lot of houses. The roofs destroyed not only houses of, in some parts, 90%, some 80%. So I came to know, for example, just lately that all the number of houses that are destroyed is something like 115,000 all over the diocese, and of Southern Leyte, something like 105,000 houses totally destroyed, some partially. And so the prevailing need at that time, of course, for food, some would have their food damaged by the rain but then people, of course, they needed shelter. And so food and shelter were the first need the people that were asking. And for us in the church, we of course tried to do as much as we can to provide first for our own people that are helping us in the church, but yes, we understood that the first days to clear the area, we would not have people around because they would have to take care of their own places that have been destroyed totally or partially. And we understood that. But still there were people who, even if their houses were damaged and so on, but they went to the church to help to clean the church so that Mass could be celebrated. Imagine, that was the second day for the Misa di Gallo, and I was told by my priest in the cathedral that early morning on that the 7th, just after the typhoon, there were people who went to the cathedral for the Mass. But of course, we couldn't say the Mass at the cathedral because all were flooded, and so the people prayed the Rosary. Just imagine. So we cleared the cathedral, and at 5 o'clock on that day, I was able to say the Mass in darkness, but people were there. So amazing. amazing. So I said, yes, we have this event, and of course it's something that could destroy even our faith, but here you are, continuing to put your faith in the Lord, and we didn't allow the typhoon, even that magnitude and that strong, to blew off our faith. So that was amazing experience.
Bishop, which is more difficult to bear? You personally seeing your people suffering because of the typhoon, or the fact that there would be several others to come of the same or even higher magnitude?
Well, to speak of something that will still to come, of course, that is also something that would generate fear in us. But for what has happened, we face a reality that has happened, and you would already feel something terrible. But at the same time, of course, having received that gift of faith that would allow us to see things from that perspective, fear may somehow be felt, but certainly the faith and trust in God would prevail. And of course, we know for a fact, that this world will come to an end. Everything we see will come to nothing. So it gives us a concrete reminder that the reality we should work hard for is something that will not be carried away by any calamity, no matter how strong that calamity is. And the strength of our faith is the only thing that will make us go through life.
Bishop, aside from the things that you have been doing now, what are the things that you would want for the church to be able to provide?
Well, first, of course, the church will need to provide people immediate needs for this situation of relief and later on to be able to rehabilitate their lives. So. But other than that, of course, being a church, which is basically an institution that is of a spiritual reality, I've encouraged my priests to also, not also, but mainly to make the people realize and make them go through that experience of a faith experience. That for me is more important. I'm not saying it's not important to have food on the table, but we know that all these are just temporary. So the church, and that is what I would want the church, at least the diocese and the priest, to continue inspiring the people to have faith and trust in the Lord. In fact, these days that after the typhoon, people have inspired us too, because they did not allow their despair of what had happened, or they would blame God for what had happened. But no, they continue to express their faith and belief in God.
Bishop, how is this faith also being manifested in, like, for example, in how the government is responding, especially the government here in Southern Leyte, how they are responding to the crisis?
Yeah, well, of course, I'm not going to judge what the government is doing, but first we are more focused on what we as church and as spiritual leaders, the people are able to provide for the immediate needs of the people after this calamity. And we just hear that people are clamoring more for what the government could do for them, and we hear it. We hear that they're expecting more action and more help from the government. And so what we are more focused on is what we can do from our side, from people who are with us in our mission to help the people.
But isn't it that part of our so-called mission also is to influence our government and all the other stakeholders?
Oh, yeah, certainly. In fact, we are our facilities, like our schools were offered and were used for the evacuation of people who are in danger of in their place that are at risk. And at the same time, now I realize that since the government has not much facilities, they have made use of our schools as the warehouse for the relief that they have received to be distributed. At the same time, we ourselves have our own relief operation, and our social action has this desire whatever goods that we receive within that day have to be distributed because people are in need. Maybe I've seen still some stock of goods that are stored in our school, and I don't know when they are going to distribute them. But as far as we are concerned in our social action, the goods that we receive, and thanks be to God, there are a number, but still not enough for the great need that has occurred. But we really distribute them as soon as we can.
How do you perceive, Bishop, the coordination that's been happening now between the church organizations, like from the CBCP to Caritas Philippines to the different organizations, dioceses, coming to you?
And yeah, those that are private and or non-governmental organizations that have poured in help on us, we do our best to facilitate the distribution. And well, practically the government also tries to do its share in giving help to the people. And so but there are instances that well, some government agencies would need, like for example, a specific situation here that we have an island province and municipality like Limasawa, and luckily the means of transport, we have our church-owned boat to bring the things there. So we are bringing a number of government and agencies of the government aid to Limasawa with our boat, and so anything that we can contribute or we can do with them, we do it. We are always open for the cooperation and participation of government or even non-government organizations that are just ready to help the people.
And would you say, Bishop, that the coordination mechanism within the church is also working?
Within the church, yes. In fact, I just had an emergency meeting with all the priests of the diocese, and we have all the different commissions and this and that, the social action of the diocese, and that has also established the parish level social action. And I have come to know that several parishes have also conducted a relief operation by themselves with they solicit help by themselves. And so this time that we were able to meet together with the priests, we added more collaboration among ourselves so that we can respond better.
I thank you very much for that, Bishop, because now we really need all the church's structure to be working for our people. Bishop, moving forward, and especially with talking to the affected families, how do you propose that what's the best way to move forward from what we are experiencing at the moment?
Yeah, first, of course, to ensure that what is the basic need at the moment, relief operation, food and items that are necessary be provided. And moving forward means after you have these basic necessities responded to, then you have to provide for the livelihood and the income generating activities for our people, especially that, for example, agricultural and it has been damaged, and so the livelihood mainly here in the diocese is the sea and the land, because there are not much industries here. And so the way to move forward is to assist the people in these areas and to pour in some help to bring them on their feet so they can provide for their fishing activities to earn, and also for their farms. So, and at the same time, I was thinking also, because an area that might not be addressed to are the young people who are going to school, and certainly when the income of the family is affected, then they would have to stop schooling. I don't know if that is an area that we have to go forward. The young people are supposed to bring not just the future, but even the present, because they are the majority. So these are areas that need to be addressed. And I'm so happy that a lot of people are responding to this situation, and they have contacted us, and they came, like, for example, NASA, Caritas Philippines, of course, is very active in this area, and I'm very grateful for that. And similar agencies with Caritas Philippines are already here and still will come. So we are hopeful that we can get back on our feet to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Bishop, it's still, I believe that it's still, we are still within the Christmas season, kahit na tapos na yung Three Kings. Ano po? You, in all of our conversation, you always go back to faith. We'd like to request from you your post-Christmas message to everybody, especially to the people of the Diocese of Maasin. How do we make our faith stronger, and how do we cling on to that faith? Especially that now with the new year, it's actually about hope. It's actually about making true to what we believe in, to our faith. How do we do that in this situation? But can you please do your message po in your dialect?
Oh yeah. Ingon mo nga post-Christmas, humanag Pasko. Pero din sa Pilipinas, pabiya mahuman ang Pasko, kaya napay Santo Niño, which is very, kanang sakto ra gyud ang Ginoo gipanganak na imong gamayng bata sa Belen, o nagpadayon ang atong debosyon niya, di lamang sa Pasko, kundi padayon sa iyang pagkagamay bata, Santo Niño. Ang hisguta og pagtuo, og maoray makaluwas nato sa mga higayon sa kadaot, sama nining bagyo nga si Odette. Kung kita magpadayon sa atong pagtuo sama sa usa ka bata, bahala nato amahan atong Ginoo nga mao'y moatiman nato. Kung magpakaron ingnon ta nga kaya na nato mo barog, kitara murag lisod-lisod gyud na pa. So ang ako lamang sugyot nga atong ipadayon ang atong pagdawat sa Ginoo nga nagpakatao, nagpakahimong bata, Senyor Santo Niño, ang sunod nga dako kaayo nga debosyon sa ato mga Pilipino, o nga ato kining ipadayon og magpakahimot ang sama niya sa atong pagtuo, pagsalig sa Ginoo, bisan unsa pa nang mahitabo sa atong kinabuhi, anaan atong pagtuo, pagsalig sa Ginoo, di kita angay nga mahadlok, ug di kita angay mawad-an og paglaom. Na sa Ginoo, na sa iyang pag-uban nato, sa iyang pagkabata, gitudluan kita sa pagsalig ngadto kaniya. Hinaot pa nga kining pagsalig ug pagtuo mas molig-on pa nga walay bagyo nga makapadpad niini. Para sa tanan panalanginan ta sa Ginoo, di lamang sa mga atong gikinahanglan, panilabi na sa atong lig-on nga pagtuo sa niya.
Thank you very much po, Bishop Precioso Cantillas. Despite the circumstance of our first meeting, we are very happy to finally put an actual face in the name. Maraming salamat po for also welcoming.
Daghang salamat po.
Thank you for
Maraming
welcoming the team of Caritas Philippines in your diocese. Thank you very much po.
Salamat and God bless you all.
Nakasama natin po walang iba, Bishop Precioso Cantillas from the Diocese of Maasin. This is Caritas News on the Go.
Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's news and public affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide. Live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the Go.
Caritas Philippines with Bishop Jose Colin Boro, our National Director, and Father Tony Labiao, our Executive Secretary, as mentioned earlier, have started the solidarity visits to the 11 affected dioceses by Typhoon Odette. These visits are part of our tradition to provide all the needed support and capacity to disaster-stricken communities and dioceses. And even at the time of a disaster, we do accompaniment and mentoring with our dioceses. And in this case, Team Caritas Maasin is being helped in the emergency operation by Team Caritas Palo. According to Archbishop John Du of Palo, they felt the need to urgently respond and assist Maasin since the diocese was also the first to give them aid 8 years ago when Super Typhoon Yolanda severely devastated Leyte. And as Caritas Philippines and the 11 affected dioceses gear up for early recovery and rebuilding, we visited the core shelters we have constructed in Palo 8 years ago to give us an idea of how a Caritas housing project looked like. Bishop Jose Colin Bagaforo gives us a highlight of our visit with Father Alcris Badana of Team Caritas Palo.
Ang Caritas Philippines po ay nakapagpatayo ng 7,000 houses sa 9 dioceses nung nakaraang Typhoon Yolanda. At dito po sa Diocese of Palo ay nakapagpatayo tayo ng 626 na mga shelters at kitang-kita naman po ninyo after 8 years, buong-buo pa ang bahay at mas maganda pa ngayon. Kaya ipinagmamalaki namin ipakita sa inyo ang produkto ng programa ng Caritas Philippines. Kaya tatawagin ko po ang Social Action Director ng Archdiocese of Palo, si Padre Alcris, upang ipakilala niya at ibigay pa ang maraming mga explanation tungkol sa program implementation nitong shelter na binigay natin sa mga naging biktima nung Yolanda Typhoon 8 years ago.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And Bishop, good morning. So ito po yung isa sa mga bahay na ipinagawa natin right after Typhoon Haiyan. And isa sa mga special feature natin, no? Kasi alam naman natin na after Typhoon Haiyan, talagang yung Eastern Visayas or the Visayas region is always the highway po ng mga malalakas na bagyo, especially during the last quarter. Kaya itong bahay natin na pinagawa, we made sure na yung poste are concrete na, hindi lang yung made out of kuko lumber. Kasi yung ano natin, Bishop, na para tumagal talaga yung bahay as much as possible. And then we have added, aside from mga special features sa loob para maging mas ano yung bahay, mayroon tayong linagay na itong resiliency feature na kapag may bagyong darating, para hindi lipad yung bubong ng bahay, nilalagyan natin ng tali Ha? Tapos itong tali na diyan din tinatali nato para at least yung bubong hindi talaga na ng hangin, no? And of course, aside from that, yung structure mismo, we follow the standard na binigay ng DSWD ng gobyerno, yung mga resiliency features sa paggawa ng bahay. And of course, aside from that, yung bahay natin ay kumpleto po. So we made sure na at least yung minimum may kwarto para sa parents at may kwarto din para sa mga anak. This is also part of our advocacy on protection of women and children. At saka yung core house natin may kasama din po itong CR kasi importante din yun para sa sa hygiene ng family, and they don't have to go away from their house, sa kaya yung bahay na may nakakabit na rin na CR. And part sa development talaga ng bahay kasi we make sure also na hindi lang yung bahay okay lang na mabago yung yung anyo niya, kasi it is a sign for us na the family is improving economically pag makapagdagdag sila ng additional structure sa bahay nila. So dinisign din natin na at the end yung CR, which is nakakabit sa labas ng bahay, pag may pera na sila, gusto na nilang dagdagan pa yung structure ng bahay, we make sure na yung CR na will become part of the core house, kasi doon din ilalagay nila yung kitchen nila. And then aside from that, binigyan din natin sila ng yung water pump.
Magkano ang cost ng bahay, Father?
Yung construction natin with all these things na ginawa natin, concrete yung poste, tapos nakasimento na yung sahig, may 2 kwarto, may kasamang CR, it only costed us 128,000, no? Kasama na doon yung labor at saka yung materials po, Bishop. Opo.
Tawagin mo.
So, ito po yung yung may-ari
Labi
ng
ka doon.
bahay, isa sa mga beneficiary natin. Ano po ang pangalan nila, Madam?
Norma Misias.
Norma Misias. So, ano yung experience niyo po? Maikwento mo after ng Typhoon Haiyan hanggang ngayon. Ano yung mga maganda experience mo na nakatulong sa iyo?
Maupay.
Oh, maganda. So, yung nagdaang bagyong Odette, although hindi naman dumaan talaga sa atin, ano yung experience mo?
Dagan ligtas ba ini kay siyempre ora naman kami kumaan nga din ibang
hindi na kayo pumunta sa ibang evacuation
Hindi
center.
na lang kami.
So, ano ginawa niyong preparation?
Nanipig, nanhigutan mo nga yun, para di riglupat kaya pa labaga makusog.
So, tinalian din yun yung tinuro namin sa inyo na mga feature para ma-preserve yung bahay. Opo. So, yung tubig natin, kumusta naman? Nagagamit pa siya, naiinom pa rin, safe pa rin.
Panlaba, panuan.
Pangluto, tapos panginom din.
Pag-inom.
Okay. So, Bishop, baka may dagdag ka na tanong.
Maraming salamat at kayo ay nakatira na ng mahusay. At ilan ang membro ng pamilya mo? Ilan sila? 5 sila? Lahat sila nakatira dito?
Yung anak ko na ato na halo yung
Sa likod? Oo. Oo.
Apat na lang kami din.
Oh, sige. Maraming salamat din at
Salamat
sige.
sa inyo.
Oo. Ganito po ang
Nabulig.
malaking tulong. Oo, daghang kayong natabangan gyud, no? Oo. Ito katong una unsay inyong balay katong naguba? Ngani pud kadako?
Dere. Kuwala to pahud.
Maliit lang. Kahoy lang yan na.
Dere mga lubi.
Oh.
Kahoy na to nga mga ito.
Mo ba? So karon gyud simento na imong salog. Oh, sige. Na nakay CR nga gwapo pod. Sige. Ganito po ang klase ng shelter na ipinatayo ng Caritas Philippines. Ngayon po sa ating tulong na ipapakita at ibibigay sa mga biktima ng Typhoon Odette, ganitong klaseng bahay rin po ang ating ibibigay sa kanila. Matibay at saka merong tinatawag na typhoon resistant. Meron tayong mga special features para sa bagyo. At maraming salamat po sa inyong mga tulong. At sa darating pang mga pagkakataon na tayo ay abot ng tulong sa ating maraming mga kapwa na katulad nila na biktima ng bagyo at sa malungkot na pangyayari ay nawalan ng bahay, ay sa pamamagitan ng tulong ninyo sa Caritas Philippines. Marami pa tayong matutulungan. Pagpatuloy po natin ang ating alay kapwa At ito po ang aming masasabi. Caritas promise, handa po kaming tumulong sa lahat.
Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's news and public affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide. Live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the Go.
As Bishop Jose Colin Bagaforo emphasized, we at Caritas Philippines is always proud to say that when we implement our projects, it is always with the same commitment for quality, accountability, and dignity of people. Caritas News on the Go will be back after some reminders, but Philippines, while being listed as one of the most vulnerable countries to natural hazards in the world, is not the only one experiencing severe climate impacts. Would like to have an idea how other Caritas organizations in Asia respond to natural and man-made calamities. Mr. Emmanuel Biswaz of Caritas Bangladesh shares with us their Rohingya response and their actions on the recent disasters in the country.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Biswaz and I am working with Caritas Bangladesh Emergency Response Program at Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh for the forcibly displaced Myanmar nationals known as Rohingya. Let me describe the crisis we have been dealing with for the last few years for the Rohingya refugee. First of all, the massive number of people who were forced to flee from their own land, Myanmar, still carries out the fear of fire and horror massacre in Myanmar. Still, the Rohingya people have been bearing the trauma of horrendous massacre by Myanmar army. Secondly, the pressure and negative attitude of the local community people towards the Rohingya is another concern. And thirdly, upstream in monsoon, cyclone due to presence in the coastal region, and landslide risks, flood, heavy rains, outbreak of communal diseases have multiplied the crisis. These are the crises we have been dealing with, and now let me tell you on how we have been responding to this multiple crisis. First of all, in all our programs, we have kept the vulnerable people to the center of our program. And secondly, we have identified the hazard, causes of the disaster and common factors and actors of disaster, and taken steps accordingly to strengthen those factors or actors to protect the vulnerable population from multiple hazards. And thirdly, we organized and capacitated them so that they can face their day-to-day event and future hazards by themselves. While responding to any disaster, I think affected people's capacity and vulnerability are the most important element that need to be considered. It is also important to consider the area of their vulnerability, rights, and dignity in a neutral and impartial way. We have also involved the community people in the process of all our interventions and jointly converted their vulnerability into capacity. Coordination and collaboration are also important part in humanitarian response. We have initiated all our projects in a coordinated way from the ground level to the highest level of our organization. Then need-based and regular monthly sectoral and intersectoral meetings have been playing a very vital role for our internal coordination. We share our achievement, our challenges, our plans during the meeting, and which improved our understanding and created the scope for others to contribute. We also participate in the government, sectoral, working group, task force, and other coordination meeting for a well-coordinated response. We share our reports, our new ideas and assessment findings with different government and non-government bodies. Sectors led by the UN agency and the government RRC office have been playing a very important role here in Cox's Bazar response for interagency coordination and resource mobilization as well. This joint initiative has reduced overlapping as well as duplication. We also collaborate with sectors and government initiative during the new emergencies. The emergency within an emergency, for example, in a natural disaster, and on advocacy issues. Coordination meeting creates those scopes to identify the gaps and mobilize the resources of the agencies. During emergency, the government takes the lead here in the camp level or even in the district level, led in the response and specifies the role where we, the agency like Caritas, participate with our possible resources. As part of coordination, we have been playing the camp level focal point role in the camp level for protection and shelter, which is a role to coordinate with all actors in the camp level response. Besides, Caritas has been playing the co-lead role in the entire shelter activities for Rohingya response in Cox's Bazar program, which is also a role to coordinate with all the agency for a fruitful and effective shelter programs or response. Thank you.
The Apostolic Vicariate of Puerto Princesa also experienced the wrath of Typhoon Odette. Bishop Socrates Meshona appeals for your compassion and generosity to help them in their rebuilding process.
Misyonan ng Puerto Princesa, Palawan. Kami po isa sa mga tinamaan ng Bagyong Odette. At noong kinabukasan kagad ay nagtingin-tingin ulit kagad kami kung anong magagawa namin. At sa aming makakaya, may mga nagagawa namin naman kami bilang pagtugon sa pangangailangan, matinding pangangailangan. Una, yung mga parokyang tinamaan ay dinalaw namin at nagipag-order sa mga kura parokyo kung ano ang mga dapat magawa namin bilang pagtugon sa mga nabiktima. At ang una namin ginawa ay magbigay ng mga pagkain dahil yun po ang pinaka-importante dahil wala po silang makakain. Kaya sa aming limited resources tumugon kami, nag-deliver kami ng mga food packs. 7 parokya po ang apektado sa aming vikaryato. Kaya nagpapadala kami ng food packs. At nung dumating din ang mga tulong galing sa ibang mga lugar, ay dinagdagan po namin yung mga food packs at sa tulong din ng iba pang mga institutions, napagbigay na rin po kami ng mga gamit para sa construction para maiayos ang kanilang mga nasira ng mga bahay tulad ng mga pako, yero, lawaned at iba pa. At ngayon ay patuloy pa rin po kami tumutugon at sinisikap din namin na mayroon din kami mga long-term na pagtugon katulad ng mga kabuhayan at pagtayo muli ng mga tahanan, lalong-lalo na yung mga nawalan ng bahay at hindi na po yun bumalik dahil dineklara ang danger zone sa kanilang pinitinan dati. Isang malaki pong pagtugon na kailangan talagang tulong-tulong na solusyonan ang problema.
In the coming days, we will be giving you updates on our ongoing Typhoon Odette response. For the meantime, we still request for your support and generosity. You can send your donations to the bank and GCash details on screen. The new year may have started with a disaster we needed to respond, but as we always say at Caritas, we will leave no one behind, and that's a promise. Thank you very much for watching. I am Jean Ray Henderson from your Team Caritas Philippines, and this is Caritas News on the Go.
Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's News and Public Affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide. Live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the go.